The market has reached all-time highs this week. It looks like a lot of people aren't singing or happy when the FOMC makes its decision, or when the tariff date is, for example, are two things that most of our institutional clients don't know. This makes them not sure about the recovery. The market won't reach its peak if people aren't sure about it. They work best when people are too excited. It doesn't look like that will happen. The Federal Reserve is not lowering interest rates at the moment, but they will begin to do so once they are ready to. Make sure that the tariffs aren't making prices go up. If the Fed turns dovish, the central bank will hold more cash, which should be good for the financials. I don't know when that will start. Small caps and regional banks both benefit from it because it has a lot to do with that trade. Plus, it's good for Bitcoin, which is an important part of that trade. Several times, both the stock market and the cryptocurrency market have broken all records. Tom Lee says that you guys aren't nearly as excited about this as you should be. A lot of people thought there would be a lot more rate cuts this year, which would bring a lot more money into the markets. XRP's price has a lot more room to go up because of this. Altcoin season is a lot more crazy now. That's what most people want to happen. For the most part, people just want the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. This would bring trillions of dollars into the market and make XRP price go through the roof. Many unknown facts about this subject will be revealed today. We will also figure out how likely it is that the Federal Reserve will act at certain times. I got points for the first time ever. This is information I think you need to know in order to handle this bull run and then do really well because of it. Now click like so everyone in the XRPM arm can see the movie. Let's listen to what Tom Lee has to say. The market won't reach its peak if people aren't sure about it. They work best when people are too excited. It doesn't look like that will happen. They are right to be interested in the lack of certainty around those issues, right? They're not wrong, but I think they got the volume wrong. In April, many people believed that without a trade deal, the economy would fall apart. They know now that they don't have to jump off a cliff. If they're wrong, you can solve problems and even push back due dates in a polite way. What do you know? $7 trillion are in cash in banks. And I believe you need to really change the way small investors think. Some people, like Robinhood, are hopeful, but I think most wealthy people and long-term investors are still being careful. That's all about our clients. I think it's way too early to say that there's speculation because those cases are so small. The high beta ETF has been setting new highs almost every day because of these small events. Not even bad stocks are being talked about. When the market is going up, it should be at the top. When you look at an ETF with a high beta, that's why it's not strange. Momentum MTM should be in charge. But keep in mind that Goldman uses data from 2021 at a time when too many people were betting on these big Mag 7 and large cap names. Those stocks don't bring much happiness. The other kind is speculative excess, which is when someone says something that isn't based on facts, but they're sure it's true. There you have it, my friend. A bubble of speculation. There is a lot of hope that prices will go down again. Some people believe most likely the reason why we are in a bubble right now is that we are about to go into a recession. Someone like Tom always gets there 5 minutes early for every call I have with a customer or Zoom meeting I've had with an institutional account. Why aren't you taking any risks? Couldn't you see that we might already be in a rough patch? I think that the reason we are in a recession is because too much speculation led to bad things. There was a bubble that thought the world would end in 2009, just like there was a bubble that thought the world would end in 2011. The economy was going to fall apart all the way through 2019. Tell me it's a worry bubble. You should know that didn't happen very often.
That's right.
Right? Right now, trade and the Fed have given the market PTSD. The Federal Reserve is not lowering interest rates at the moment. However, they will do so once they are sure that tariffs are not making prices go up. If the Fed changes its mind and starts to be more dovish, the central bank will hold more cash, which should be good for the financials. I don't know when this will happen. helps regional banks and small caps, which are closely linked to that trade. It also helps the cryptocurrency complex, which depends on money from central banks a lot. It looks like the banks, financials, small caps, and cryptos all move when the Fed does. Financially, things are better now, but they're still not expensive. This is because someone pulled on another button. The loan term gets longer when rates go down, which makes mortgages more affordable. Don't forget that the ISM has been below 50 for 29 months. That's the longest stretch the ISM has ever had. To add to what Chris said, I think we have a cyclical rebound that will help cyclical stocks if the Fed starts to lower rates. Only 13 million new homes have been built in the last 10 years, even though 15 million new households have been formed. Because interest rates are high, there aren't enough homes for sale. Things are getting worse. This is what keeps home prices high. Also, if there is real inflation, I think there's something wrong with the policy because inflation is 1.8% core PCE and 4.4% for the Feds, 5. It's hard for the Fed to explain why they keep real interest rates high, which is bad for people. To slow down the economy even more, you can do things like putting all of these taxes on the things that businesses buy. If they told me that $400 billion, 0 cents in taxes are going into the economy, I wouldn't understand why the Fed should keep rates low. Thankfully, makes a good point that many of you should really think about. Rates will soon have to be lowered by the Federal Reserve, or the U.S. economy as a whole will suffer. Things will fall apart. The financial sector, real estate, and pretty much the whole economy will have a lot of trouble because of businesses that have a lot of debt and are under a lot of stress. Small business loans, middle business loans, and so on are all part of this. People all over the world borrow and lend all of these different kinds of debt. To keep this debt too expensive for too long would be very bad for the economy as a whole, which is something that the Federal Reserve does not want to happen. They should lower interest rates and let it happen. If they don't, it will look bad on them and could affect how long they're in charge. I really believe that if something bad happens and the Federal Reserve decides not to lower rates, that will also bring about many great opportunities, especially in the crypto space. Has happened before, both in the past and in general. After these terrible events, the market drops a lot and then rises in a V shape. In the crypto market a few months ago, there was a lot of fear and panic about tariffs. This is a lot like that. You are, of course, making a lot of